Welcome to Talksicology, brought to you by Recovery Unplugged, the place where we talk about all things substance abuse, recovery, and mental health, with guests offering varying perspectives and viewpoints. Hosts Joseph Gordo and Jason Cabello share about their addiction and recovery and other serious subject matter through lighthearted yet candid conversation. Welcome to the show, Adam David.
Yes. Hi.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thanks for having me, man. This is cool.
Yeah.
For some reason, when I was thinking about today, it kept on going Adam McDavid. And I couldn't figure out why. And then I realized that I know a guy named Adams McDavid.
Adams.
That's his first name?
Yeah.
With an S?
Yeah.
Plural. Like,
Yeah.
Is there more than one?
I don't know. I don't know the story.
Is there an apostrophe?
Yeah.
Maybe like his dad was Adam and he
typo?
didn't want a junior. And they were
twin?
like, this is my child, Adams. There's an apostrophe.
Interesting.
I always thought that Charles sounded like a plural. Like, shouldn't it just be Charles?
Charles. I never thought about that. I have a friend that legitimately has a typo on his birth certificate.
Really?
My drummer. Actually, it's my drummer.
Oh, yeah. Well,
So his first name is John David.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be John David.
But it's
but
one
it's
spelling, like no space
John
in between?
David.
Yeah.
John David.
Yeah. I'll let him talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't know enough
We're just
about
going to
it.
start making
Blow
fun
up
of
John
this guy.
David's spot.
He's not here to defend himself.
His band is super fucking cool. He surrounded himself with a lot of really good people.
Yeah. I'm very lucky. The band right now is a six piece.
Mm-hmm.
I want to expand it even more. So it's drums, bass, keys or organ, and me, and then I have a sax player and a trumpet player. And I'd like to add a trombone.
I always love it when the band has that one guy that like plays like 19 different instruments throughout the set, and on some songs he's literally just like doing the in Spanish it's called the pescado.
Yeah.
You know, he does that
the little fishy thing.
he does it 3 times during the bridge, and
That's
then
it.
that's all
Throws
he
it
does that
back.
song.
Right.
He buys
I
a
love
new one every
that
gig.
guy. I would love to be that guy.
The multi-instrumentalist.
That'd be a cool place to get to.
Right.
I think all of us are capable of playing multiple things. My bass player just revealed to me that he can play keyboard a bit, and I'm like, dude,
He like
what's
revealed it
up?
like he came out.
yeah,
he was
we can. That opens up a lot of things,
Right.
Just as extra stuff.
synth
And
bass.
I actually built him his first pedal board recently, and because he's just he's
Bass players, a lot of them don't do
Minimalistic.
nothing. Yeah.
minimalist. He goes straight in, and it's great. It hasn't lacked anything, so he's never, but I'm super nerdy when it comes to gear.
Yeah.
I think most guitar players
You get like,
would
oh, yeah.
admit.
get like a nice fuzz pedal for him. Or anything.
Well, so we started out with, I got him a really nice tuner, obviously. We got a filter pedal for him, so like the Bootsy Collins kind of.
Did you get him a bass wah?
No, but that's essentially what the filter is. It's like an auto wah.
Oh, okay.
And then an octave pedal. And I got him a looper because I use a looper quite a bit. It's
Green Line 6?
no, that's a delay pedal that has a looper built in.
Right.
This is, I think it's the RC5, which is like the latest single stomp one. I use the RC500, I believe. It's a little bigger. You get 2 channels and whatever. I never use a second channel. Anyway, I made him this really small board with just like the essentials and, power supply. So it's clean linear power. It's nice low volume. The tuner has a really nice buffer in it. I warned you, I'm a little nerdy about all of it.
But so do you also get that secondary satisfaction of like plugging in those little short cables, right? And getting it set just right on the board.
I like making them.
I
buy the tips and I buy the cabling in bulk.
Yeah. Oh, and then you're cutting them
And then I
custom.
cut 'em and solder them.
Yeah.
And same thing with the power cables. What I've done is I'll buy a lot of Voodoo Labs cables and snip them and put a better quality jack on it, or like when you use like the Chalks power supply, they're like an RCA type of tip, so you can turn that like barrel tip into an RCA type tip. I love it.
Well, welcome to Gearheads with
How's
Jason and
it?
Joseph. Yeah. So glad you joined us today. Today we're going to be going over
Pedal boards.
and diodes, transistors.
Right.
Yeah.
So we can do a deep dive into the Roland Space Echo.
Yeah. And I'm going to
Yeah.
talk to you guys about my brand new ham radio that I just set up.
That's I like building pedals. They sell like kits and stuff. So like you're seriously going down my alley.
All right.
Yeah.
So
let's change the subject.
yeah. So I'm excited about this episode because I have deliberately, I know you and Jason have been doing a lot of work together lately and kind of know a lot, but I am here white as snow. No, very,
you're tan.
very
Figuratively,
yeah,
literally.
Yeah. I know very, very little about you other than a couple fun bullet points Jason provided to me. So
It's awesome that some were provided at all.
yeah, yeah. You've got bullet points, bro.
Yeah,
That's sick.
That's
dude.
that's
guess-
something that they don't tell you when you're first getting sober, right? It's not in the promises, but like
bullet points.
you will have bullet points.
You will have bullet points.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
Wikipedia page. Will, I know in the doctor's opinions it says something about your Wikipedia
Yes.
page beyond your wildest dreams.
Yes. Eventually, your wiki will be longer than your rap sheet. Is,
That's
what-
something that
Cliche.
yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
But so, man, Adam, where do we begin? Well, let's rewind all the way
Yeah, yeah.
back.
Way back.
I was getting
Way back.
ASMR
So are
all
you,
the way back.
I have that thing where
You
it's
do?
like when you hear somebody chewing or like a dog licking or oh my god, it sends me over the fucking edge.
so
Don't listen to this one with
I've
headphones.
been
Yeah.
doing a lot of guided meditations on YouTube lately.
Yeah.
And like the second
Same.
the voice comes on, it's either a yes or a no.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can tell they're trying to be ASMR. They're like, welcome to tonight's guided meditation.
Next.
Yeah. No. Yeah, breath. But so taking it way back, right?
Yeah.
So we were talking about Texas and how we all agree that Texas is the greatest state. But you're from Florida and born and raised?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was born in Miami. I think we lived in Miami till I was about 6, and then we moved to Davie, Southwest Ranches, and that's where I lived, grew up. Just me and my mom.
Yeah.
Eventually we got dogs. I think I grew up with like 3 dogs. I know that I grew up with 3
only
dogs.
child? Yeah.
Technically,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's get into it. Let's figure
that
out
one of the
why
bullet
you are the
points?
way you are. Yeah.
that was good. Yeah, so my mom had me by doing artificial insemination.
Okay. Right on.
So
I have to interrupt. So I
yeah.
know one other person that was artificially inseminated,
dope.
and she has slightly webbed toes.
I don't have webbed toes.
Toes normal.
I'm assuming that's where that was.
That's where that was going. Yes. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So artificial
So
insemination.
not a trait of artificially.
Not a frog person.
Well, so far it's 50-50
Right.
in my research.
Yeah. That's
That's true. That's
interesting.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how, my mom was about 37 and she wasn't married. She wasn't with anybody. She wanted kids and she felt pressured to, time pressured.
Yeah.
And she
That
just,
biological clock.
right. So she did that. And I guess not a lot of people were doing that at the time. It was kind of a new thing. And that's what she did. And out came I at some point, probably about 9 months,
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
About 40 weeks. Yeah.
something like that.
Right before the web started. Flowing.
Right. God.
So you overcook them.
Yeah.
That's-
Right. Yeah. And I was born an only child.
Yes.
There's
There's no deadbeat dad that abandoned you.
Correct.
Yeah, great.
My mom has been single this whole time,
Yeah.
and she actually was a part of a group called Single Mothers by Choice, and it was other women that did artificial insemination. I believe, I don't know. I guess that would be a prerequisite because you're choosing to raise a child on your own.
So I mean, growing up, was that weird for you? Was that, did you have awareness that your upbringing was maybe a little bit different from other people's, or like?
I don't remember ever finding out that that was the scenario. I remember always just knowing.
Yeah.
I do remember like talking openly about it as a kid, like not really fully knowing what it meant.
Yeah.
And I do remember like hearing terms like test tube baby and stuff from other kids.
In the late 80s, it was test tube baby.
Yeah. Thinking back on it, like, I don't think it bothered me, but it felt like it should, so I let it.
Yeah.
So it like the intent was to have it bother you, and instead of just saying like this doesn't bother me,
Right.
it was sort of just like, well, you know what, these kids are being assholes to me.
Maybe I do want to be bothered.
Yeah.
Very strange. But just to full circle into that, so I did Ancestry in 2022. A friend of mine talked me into it, and a couple of months later, or rather, it was 2021, end of 2021, February 2022. This is how I tell this story. I'm standing in line at a post office. I'm returning a package or something, and I get a message from a young woman on Ancestry saying, "Hey, it looks like we're half sibling match." You know, and my first thought was, oh, this is bullshit. It's a bot. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like an Ancestry bot to make you feel good about what you purchased.
Yeah, it's going to turn out that she's a prince in Africa. And she's going to try to...
So, but no, it was legit. You know, we're talking for a couple minutes, still in line at this post office. It was a long line. It was a Wednesday, mundane. Yeah, mundane, middle of the week post office. And
what were you shipping?
I think I was probably returning a pedal.
Yeah.
Truthfully. Oh. Seriously. So we're talking, and then she's like, hey, so I don't want to like overwhelm you, but there's more of us. We found more of us. And I was like, all right, that's cool. She's like, well, we found 17 of us so far. There's 10 of us in a group chat on Facebook. Do you want to be in the group chat? I'm just like, package in hand.
Whoa.
And I'm like, yeah, definitely. So now I'm in this group chat with 10 of my siblings, and you know, it's very overwhelming. They're just like, hey, welcome, Adam. Where are you from? Like, how old are you? You know, whatever. And we're all talking, and are
they all in Florida?
No, they're all over. I don't. The newest one is in Miami.
Yeah.
Because now we found a couple more.
Yeah.
And
prolific.
It's wild. And so, you know, maybe a couple minutes into that conversation, just like, do we know anything about the donor? You know, just kind of occurred to me, that's what is connecting all of us. And that just casually, yeah, his name's Rich. Here's a picture of him recently. Here's an older picture. You could reach out to him by la la la. So in the span of like 10 minutes standing at the post office, you know, I now I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest.
I guess it was 17 then. I think I was the 18th. And now I have a way to reach out to my biological dad or donor.
Have you done that?
I haven't done that yet. But yeah, dude, I walked in that post office an only child.
Yeah.
I left the oldest of 18, 17 with a way to reach out to, you know, the other half of my DNA.
I've heard of long lines at the post office, but this is ridiculous.
Yeah. Right.
No, I'm loving this because like my father was prolific, right? And so I discovered an older sister at the age of 12.
Prolific.
Yes, prolific. And then during
COVID,
during COVID, I get a Facebook message one day.
Yeah.
And this guy's like, hey, is your dad so-and-so? I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, I'm your brother. And I look at his picture on Facebook. I'm like, yeah, you fucking are.
Wow.
And I'm telling my wife about this, and she's just like, because it was like, I'm like in bed reading, you know? I'm like, oh, this dude's my brother. Mm-hmm. And I went back to reading, and she's like, you don't seem that, you know, like it doesn't seem to shock you, or like, you know what I mean? I feel like this is a big deal.
There's a numbness.
And I was like, no, this has happened before.
Oh.
And so but your story by far.
It took a while.
Yeah,
it took a while to process that. And the donor thing, I think I still am. Mm-hmm. I'm getting closer to a point where I think I might just like rip off the Band-Aid and just like, hey, I'm another one. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You should do it while you're in the post office.
I might have to.
Yeah.
Well, how am I have to send a letter. Actually, that might be the only way.
So do you feel like a strong sense of connection with these siblings that you've discovered, or is it kind of like more of like a cousin vibe?
That's a great question. I don't know. I do feel a connection. Mm-hmm. there's obvious interest to develop relationships. Some of them are full siblings with each other.
Yeah.
Some of them have been in this chat together for years now. But I feel a connection. I don't know how it'll evolve, and it would be awesome to like. We did a FaceTime or a Facebook thing at one point. Just a couple of us.
Meta time.
And it would be cool to like meet up. I think that would be pretty sweet. So whenever I'm traveling, like I'll reach out to the group chat and say, because they've all told me where they live so many times, but I forget it.
Yeah. You're like, any y'all live in Alabama?
Right. I've gotten close to like linking with someone. Someone's based in like upstate New York.
Yeah. So you still haven't met any of them in person?
No.
Oh man, this is so fast. I could do the whole episode about this. Like my therapist brain is kicking in, and I'm just like, let's
dive in.
Yeah,
free session.
That's not what we're supposed to be talking about. There's the inception point of all of it,
Yeah,
and all the branches that we go off in the show is substance abuse, mental health recovery, right? So
and music.
Music, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about.
I'm very versed.
Where did things start to go wrong for little Adam in
oh my God,
South Florida?
What a loaded question.
Little only child Adam.
No, I guess, really it's like, when were you first introduced to substances? What was the vibe at the time?
So I had a friend, we're still friends. But he had a stepdad that was very abusive, and he actually would beat my friend and me. He got the brunt, right? But
your friend's dad would?
His stepdad.
His stepdad would beat you?
Yeah. The first time that I think both of us got stoned was pot. And he like basically forced us to smoke. And that happened a couple times.
He was just like, how old are you?
I'm 35.
No, at the time.
Oh, I wasn't 35 then.
33.
Imagine being 35 and your friend's stepdad is just smacking you.
I think at that point you're not being forced.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know how I was in middle school.
12, 13 maybe.
Yeah. Something like that.
I don't understand an adult man being like, you know what?
Oh, he had issues,
I've got this
man.
pot and I want to smoke it, but I don't want to smoke it alone.
Right.
I know.
I'm either going to beat the shit out of these kids or get them high.
I'll leave it up to them.
Yeah, no, not a good memory. But it happened enough, and then at some point we liked it, I guess, me and him, and we like
so at first
sought
it was
it out
kind
for
of
ourselves.
like you're forced to do it, and I don't know, and then eventually it flipped. So like, all right,
Does your mom ever say like, every time you go over to little Ralphie's house, you either come home stoned or with a black eye? What the heck's going on?
Well, at some point, yeah, my mom intervened and like basically said, I don't know exactly what you said, but I would imagine it was something along the lines of like, touch my kid again and I'll fucking kill you.
Okay,
or I'll call the cops or some shit. And Peter's sisters would always ask me, why do you keep coming here?
Because I'm like it.
You're getting, well, I didn't have any friends.
Yeah.
I was really like, at that time I had bullies. It was middle school.
Oh.
What kind of bullying were you getting?
A lot of it was at the bus stop, which actually like got in the way. Like I was a truant for a long time. My mom would call the cops and have them bring me to school, which created a whole other resentments and whatever. But yeah, I didn't want to go because I felt shitty when I went. And when I did make it to school, I didn't know anybody. I don't know. I'm not sure why I didn't know anybody. I went to a different elementary school. I went to the one like by my house, but then I was getting in trouble, so my mom put me in a private school. And when I went into middle school, I went back into the mainstream. So all the kids that went to that elementary school went to this middle school.
They knew each other. Yeah.
So I didn't really know anybody. And actually, like thinking back, I have a long history with anxiety and panic attacks. And it started then. I didn't know what it was then. But that morning time between getting dropped off by the bus and the start of class, it's just like, I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
I'm, walking around like it was manic-y, and I didn't know how to communicate what I was going through because I didn't understand. and then add in like the bullies right at the top of the day. I don't want to go to school.
Yeah.
Were they like physical or were they making fun of you? Both.
My mom sent, we were having so many issues at home. It was just me and my mom, and with the bullies, I was just getting so angry.
Yeah.
And I again, like, I think it was because I couldn't communicate it or didn't know how to. It was just coming out as fucking
You're lashing out at her,
punching holes in the walls and all that. And she sent me to a military academy, essentially like a boot camp for the summer. And when I came back, I was a little stronger and a little bit more confident.
And a little bit traumatized?
Absolutely. I got in trouble there. I mean, I was with kids that were, you know, they were avoiding like jail time stuff, you know? So it really just was more fighting. I fought a lot as a kid, and I was angry all the time. And people now wouldn't be able to see that.
And that's a different level of fighting when you're in an environment like that, right?
Like
when
survival,
right?
Yeah.
Because nobody's coming to break up the fight. You know, at school, you get in a fight 30 seconds tops before
that
it's
shit
all
is
That's like self-governed. Like, okay, we're gonna go into this room. You guys are gonna fight, and then whoever's the winner
doesn't go to the hospital.
doesn't go and doesn't snitch.
Yeah, because it's, you know, well, what happened to you? Like, I fell, you know, or whatever.
Fell down the stairs. It's a one-story building.
There's no stairs here. So you know, after that I came back, like, I don't want to take anyone's shit, and I was ready to like stand up for myself, which was great. And I stood up for myself, and I fought, like, and that ended that.
Yeah,
I don't want to advocate like fighting, but standing up for yourself sometimes requires.
Well, was there a part, I'm curious, like, you know, growing up with just a mom, right? I was raised primarily by my mom too.
Yeah.
And I know that like I very much always had some insecurity around like what people consider like the dude stuff, right? Like I always felt like I was less good at sports and things like that because I didn't have like a dude. Was any of the fighting stuff partially fueled by like, you know, I have to be like extra tough and extra bad because like there is no dude?
I never thought of that.
We got to do a therapy
Maybe.
session, right?
breakthrough.
Maybe. I mean, it doesn't feel like my truth.
Yeah.
But it could be, you know, psychologically a factor. I think like where I was at was I just felt like an outsider, and I felt alone. And I think that's probably where like feeling alone surrounded by people, they would call me names and shit. They made up some weird name, Hubert. I don't even know where it came from.
Okay.
But that like stuck for some reason. When I ride my bike around the neighborhood, they would just yell out, "Hey, Hubert," and I just want to fuck them up.
Yeah.
Every time. It's like an interesting thing because even after like I stood up to the there was two guys in particular. One of them I'm sort of friendly with now, which is cool. And he plays drums. He's a phenomenal drummer. Maybe I won't say his name, but
Hubert.
The other one I never saw after. I fucked him up. Like I fought him.
Yeah.
And
like for real.
Yeah. And I remember him punching. I had earrings also at the time, and I remember him punching me, and like I was bleeding down my ear, and I remember hearing someone say, "He's bleeding." I don't know why I remember that specifically, but I never saw him again. He would come to the bus stop.
Yeah.
He wasn't even.
He didn't even go to that school. He just hung out.
He was a high schooler at that point. He graduated. He went to fucking high school and
weirdo.
Still would come back and fuck with me because he probably had his own issues.
Yeah.
Man.
Say that guy.
I don't even remember his name.
That guy has issues.
I never saw him again though, which was interesting.
And you gotta honestly think, like, knowing what we know now, like, what was that kid going through as a high schooler where he still has to go?
Can't we just be mad at him for a second?
I'm mad at him. I'm mad at him. I don't like him. I don't like him one bit. I fucking hate him.
Well, you know what I will say, and this might just be like the compassion that I've learned over the years. Like if I didn't go through that, it wouldn't have led to something else, which wouldn't have led to something else, which ultimately led me here. And the strength that I have today is because of that shit.
If you wouldn't have been called Hubert, you never would have been on Toxicology.
Yeah,
that's true. So thanks.
Pinnacle.
Thank you, folks. Like, follow, subscribe.
Bullying does help.
Oh man, man, I feel like this makes me wish that we were doing like a 3-hour long form deal because like you're so open and like there's so much juicy stuff, but it's like we gotta.
I don't live here. I got nowhere to be.
Yeah, well, we gotta. So the one time constraint we always have is Joseph's anxiety at his phone being off. Yeah. It builds and builds. So, but
were you just talking about yourself in the third person?
Yes, I was talking about my anxiety. I was talking about Joseph's
got it.
Anxiety.
Yeah, I am Joseph's raging anxiety.
Right.
With a
the Fight Club.
glow
Fight
tan.
Club, yeah, with a glow tan. It's not even working. Anyway, fuck you. See, you guys are from Florida, so
when
you're
you
both
get
like paying to
When
tan.
you get a tan with tattoos, does it do something to the color of the tattoos?
Kind of dulls it a little bit.
Yeah,
So not
it
a good
can make
thing.
them kind of fade a little bit. But
Yours look fresh.
this one is fresh.
Yeah.
This one's like December. Everything else is just good tattoo guy.
I feel like if I lived here, I'd end up looking like you guys.
Oh, there's a rule.
We've had his day has been filled with surrounded by tattooed people.
fucking awesome people.
So we went to
he
met me at one of a little
some hipster fucking place.
No, we went to a meeting this morning.
Yes.
So
Yeah, it's a hipster.
at Carlos's tattoo shop,
Yeah.
guest on the
Over
show,
off of, like,
Carlos
6,
Truon,
right? Yeah.
the one in North Loop. So we do a little.
Oh, North
know,
Loop is like a classic Austin.
We do a little meeting where it's just, it's non-fellowship specific and just a bunch of friends who are in the program sit there. We do a reading and we do a little meeting.
You never invited me.
I have
reading in a
invited you.
meeting. You should call it
Fucking
that.
liar. What?
Reading in a
Joseph's not
meeting.
allowed at the meeting. Nobody give him the address. But no, so he's there and it's, all my friends.
Yeah.
It's outside of Carlos's tattoo
All
shop.
your friends,
Except for all my friends who are there.
You know where you stand, I
He
guess.
doesn't feel less than. Don't feel less than. It's okay. We're getting through a lot of breakthroughs today.
Yeah.
Do you really?
I've been doing some work lately.
So he's surrounded
I
by.
came here for a couple days, and I immediately was invited. And
Yeah.
Andrew put you at the nice hotel.
So we were at a meeting today where everybody is pretty heavily tattooed, and I see Adam just kind of looking at his arms, and he's like, "What kind of thinking about it?"
yeah.
He's gonna return home to Florida.
We
next
gotta
week.
get to what
Okay.
we're talking about.
Well, then get it. Okay.
Sorry, I don't like having to be the guy who's like.
Be the guy.
Be
the guy.
All right. At what point did drugs start to be a problem? Like, when did you start to see it negatively impacting your life and realize, like, man, I don't know if this is the thing?
So once I was smoking, I was always smoking.
Yeah.
I did, obviously I really wasn't smoking when I went to the boot camp thing, but I was smoking cigarettes out of nowhere. When I got back from that boot camp thing and I came home, like the anger was there, right? I was like willing and ready to fight whoever the fuck said anything, and at times like looked for it, and we were in a lot of family therapy since I was little because my mom was always in therapy, and things got really bad, and I ended up going. My mom put me in a I guess it's kind of like a psychiatric place called Sandy Pines. Have you heard of that?
Mm-mm.
Doesn't matter.
Here we call them Texas Pines.
So I went there, and that was a whole experience that we can get into if you want.
Grippy socks and the whole deal.
It was a nice place, and ultimately, like, it served its purpose, I guess. But just going through that was traumatic. My mom took me up there, and it was in Jupiter, so a couple hours away from where we were. She's like, "We're just gonna go see a new therapist." We had a session. We're getting up to leave.
Here.
You're staying here.
Oh.
And so, I mean,
Traumatizing.
we're dealing with
Still.
Was it anxiety? Was it oppositional defiance stuff? Was it?
It was a lot of oppositional stuff, and they diagnosed me bipolar, which I have since found out was misdiagnosis.
Yeah.
So I
don't think you're even allowed to diagnose someone under the age of 18 with bipolar.
Yeah. Well, ADHD apparently can look like bipolar in young kids.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So they're giving me, I was there for like 6 weeks. They were trying out different meds. Yeah. And I don't know, man. I was so young, and that kind of betrayal is still something that I work through. But out of that, I went to an alternative school.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go back to mainstream school, so it wasn't over. You know what I mean?
You're still separate, other, different.
I went to this school as an alternative school, so a lot of EH kids, emotionally handicapped is what they call it.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Fired it.
Yeah.
So a lot of the kids, you know what I mean?
When did this term?
Maybe it's a Florida thing. I don't know, because I say this out here, and they're like, they called you fucking emotionally handicapped in school, and I was still in the mainstream school, so it was pretty much like this classroom at the end of the fucking hall.
Well, so
Are you walking holding hands?
Yeah, and they fucking there were holes in the thing so the other kids could poke you with a stick and be like, "Oh, it's emotional handicap."
Jason's a little older,
You
so
got
we
like
always
that
assumed
mask on.
we always assumed that it was like an older term that fell out of favor. But you're 15 years younger than Jason.
Yeah.
and they
Maybe
were
it fell out of
still doing
favor now. I don't
Maybe
know.
he was the last
Right.
of the emotionally
Yeah,
handicapped.
I'm the reason they changed it. So
Emotionally handicapped.
you're with kids from learning disabled, like developmentally challenged, to kids who are fucking throwing desks and like full on fighting. It's kind of where I
bringing me back.
where I
and
was
like
at.
the kid who got caught with a pint of whiskey at school.
Yeah,
also
or the
probably
kid who
ended up-
stabbed a teacher and got
Yeah.
expelled and couldn't go anywhere else. So
The broad spectrum we had there.
we got a little closer, man.
Yeah, we did.
That's cool.
I
I like
see you,
that.
Adam.
Yeah, man. But yeah, so I was there then for the rest of middle school, like essentially just trying to get out.
Yeah.
And like every, semester or year, it was like, yeah, we're going to try to mainstream you out, blah, blah, blah. And it just like, I remember like breaking down multiple times to my mom, like, dude, like,
I want to be normal, right?
Yeah.
Maybe if you didn't call your mom dude, she would have let you.
That might have been the issue. I do that. But so
Dude,
yeah,
it's like a non-gendered term.
I know.
nowadays.
do that is the formal.
Well, it's still not a parental. What would you do if one of your kids was like, dude?
or
Oh,
bro.
I'm so pissed.
Yeah.
Really? I call my mom dude or bro.
We bro.
Yeah.
We bro.
Me, bro.
Yeah,
Okay.
we bro.
We bro.
So you're trying to get out of.
So whatever. I
EH.
make it out midway 9th grade.
Yeah.
So now again, I'm
The new
recirculating
kid.
back into mainstream. But this was different because the kids that I did know knew that I got in trouble somehow and got put
Now
away.
you got a
somewhere.
backstory.
Now I have this like clout, this mystique,
Stigma?
stigma.
No, it's a. They're like, I don't know what he did to get in that class, but I really don't want to find out.
Well, I
It's
was
a stigma.
I was mainstreamed back in
Okay.
to regular, so I wasn't in a special class. I did have like the ESC where you can get unlimited time on tests.
Right,
and
right.
That was dope as fuck.
That is.
Do they make you like go see the counselor once a month? Just
It's
to
an
check in?
IOP.
You could use a calculator.
An
too. Like,
IEP.
they
Yeah.
give you a calculator.
Yeah, an
for
IEP.
EH.
You can run with it, but
Yeah, you get a lot of perks.
But yeah, a lot of people thought I like got like arrested and like
Yeah.
went to juvie, and I let that ride.
Yeah, he killed a teacher.
Yeah,
So you're like Judd Nelson in 16
Yeah.
Candles. I mean, no,
Breakfast
Breakfast Club.
Club.
In Breakfast Club.
right. Old man took me by the.
Yeah. He said, smoke up, Johnny. Yes.
Yeah, I let it ride, and that was probably like the first like mask I think I like played, and I was always very like, stiff and
He's
and
complicated.
I was right still looking for fights and whatever, and I'm sorry, fasting forward to like 10th grade, I started to like make friends for real. And that was the year that I really started to do a bunch of drugs.
Yeah.
Because
It's part of how you connect and,
yeah. That year I experimented with most the things that I ever did,
Mhm.
like I don't want to go into like the specific substances like
You can. We prefer that you do.
Yeah, I dropped a lot of acid that year. Did a lot of psychedelics. That was my first time ever doing blow was that year, which turned out to ultimately be my drug of choice.
Yeah.
I drank a lot because of the parties were just like, you're lucky if you didn't get alcohol poisoning. There was no balance. There was no moderation.
Yeah.
So
it was
as-
just go until.
Now, was that the culture in your friend group, or for you personally, you were just never about that?
That was generally like, yeah, I guess the people I kind of linked up with.
Yeah.
And you know, fucking get to school and smoke a joint.
Yeah.
You know, zero some one hitters in the bathroom. I dropped acid in school.
Yeah.
Take the edge off.
Yeah, and then go home and smoke and just like I was just obliterated. But at some point, and I was selling stuff. I was with friends that were selling things. I played the middleman quite a bit.
Yeah.
There's a degree of like social. You feel cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Felt cool.
Yeah.
I was the guy you called because
Yeah,
I had all the guys in my phone, whatever. And somebody said that I was selling, and they pulled me out of class one day, and I just happened to be wearing like, I don't know about you, but I would wear dirty pants. I still wear dirty pants. These are dirty pants.
Breakthrough.
But
Dude,
I would
title
leave-
right there.
Yeah.
dirty
Dirty
pants.
Dirty pants.
Emotionally handicapped dirty pants.
That's good. But I would leave the gram bags.
Yeah.
'Cause I was mostly smoking weed at
Yeah,
that time.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
doing other things, but
But those are like treats, right? The weed is the
Right.
date.
I was mostly smoking weed. I was stoned 24/7, and occasionally
On the weekends.
well,
For the weekdays.
yeah,
After 5.
yeah. But I had like gram bags in my pocket because you save them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We'll freeze.
So they pulled me in the office and they checked my shit, and I had like, you know, a torch lighter and a bunch of gram bags and eye drops, and you know,
all circumstantial, right?
Yeah,
there.
I was gonna say
For sure.
if I was selling, these bags wouldn't be fucking empty.
that's exactly what I said.
Genius. Okay,
Yeah.
did you good?
They looked through my phone and they managed to break my genius cryptic, all the weed, all the drug dealers.
42069.
I think I had the word fuego next to each one or
Fuego!
something.
That's Miami. That's Florida right there. Wait.
Yeah, and they're like, interesting. All these people who we know are trouble have that word next to it. Interesting. So they actually were going to expel me, and instead they sent me to the superintendent who deals with drug-related expulsions, and they sent me to a program called The Starting Place.
Oh, that place is great.
You know about that
I
place?
didn't go there, but one of my good friends went there, so I would go with him
I think it
sometimes.
shut down
Yeah,
because it was
there was some fucking
dirty shit
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
You want to talk about like fucking Lord of the Flies fight style stuff in the bathroom? Oh,
Adolescent programs,
With the-
man,
with
they're
the-
so hard.
Dude,
They're
I almost got stabbed there.
I believe it.
But it was an outpatient.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I'm so long-winded. It was an outpatient program, so all I had to do was pass the drug tests
Yeah.
for an extended period of time,
Yeah,
and that was
right.
it.
no.
I kept using, I kept smoking. I just could not
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
And at the time, it was like a FOMO thing. Like I felt like I just needed to be a part of.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Well, it's like you've been out of the mainstream pretty much your whole life, right? Even just
Yeah.
being artificially inseminated, right? Like, so like the sense of otherness, that gets. No, I mean,
What a
this is
jerk.
what I see.
Did you just call him a test tube baby?
No, but I just my brain
out of the
said test tube baby.
mainstream. That's what I heard.
But you know what I mean? Like atypical.
Right.
Atypical. And
Atypical's nicer.
Well, mainstream's your word. You said mainstream.
No,
Yeah.
that was just hilarious. That was perfect.
But it's like, I hear like lots of disconnection. I hear disconnection, in lots of different ways. And then, finally connection,
Right.
right? That anxiety that you talked about kind of falling away for you to be able to have friends and supports and relationships, and whether they were healthy or unhealthy friends, right? They were
Right.
there. Right.
And it's like I just always thought it was so asinine to be like, you're a problem kid. We're going to send you away to this fucking
All the
little
other
hole in the wall place with all the other problem kids and let you all figure it out together.
And there's no program.
Yeah.
There's no extracurriculars. There's no
No.
music. There's no sports.
No.
there's
It's like
nothing.
that movie Blow with Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
He went and ultimately made deeper connections into doing shady shit.
Yeah.
Or it's also, if we want to make film analogies here, also like Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
You go in it as a kid who gets bullied and you come out a fucking criminal.
Right.
doing cocaine and putting Fuego next to everybody's name on your phone.
Which character was that in Shawshank?
I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking more like the old man who gets out and is
Morgan
like, I
Freeman.
can't do this.
Brooks.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
Brooks. Yeah,
He's
wow.
like, I can't do this. But
Yeah.
instead of killing yourself, you just
go
got
right
in
back.
trouble again.
He
Yeah.
just got
He
in-
tried.
Yeah.
He tried. He just couldn't do it.
That's right. He did.
Yeah.
So throughout all these years of experimenting, right? We know what your ultimate drug of choice was, but was there a time when you did it when you're just like, this is the one that I'm going to roll with. This is my favorite. This is.
I remember doing it in that time period because once I went away for that thing and I failed like 6 drug tests, they were very generous. Then they put me in that, like the residential thing, which was a 100 good day program, meaning you could have bad days, which wouldn't count. So there were some kids that were there for like 6 months that were only needed to get 100 good days. It was,
And they were like on day 7.
seriously nuts, dude. Cause whatever. So at that time I wasn't using, cause I couldn't. But I remember when I was, and I did blow for the first time. I remember the first time I did it was literally a bender of blow.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Do you remember the hole? I think it was in Miami. I never picked anything up from the hole, but everyone that I was using with would pick their shit up from the hole. I don't know if that meant it was good or bad. I don't know. I had no reference at the time, but I remember the night.
Oh, wait, was it in Hollandale?
Possibly.
Because I knew that there was just a hole in a
called the hole.
fence. Yeah, there was
I
a
don't
hole
know.
in a fence next to a liquor store in Hollandale. It
have
was
no idea.
there was, but I don't remember. So I remember a place in Hollandale where you could just go, and there was just you'd go little hole, and you'd be like, "Hey, I need this."
It's like a glory
and then,
hole.
And then they'd
for
say, "Yeah,
drugs."
exactly." And then you would
Interesting.
get $20, then you put your $20 in, and then they would give the thing out. So there might have been multiple holes in the South Florida area.
So, okay, we talked about drugs a bunch, right?
Yeah.
When does music come into your life in a real way?
I started playing music when I was 8.
Yeah.
I started playing piano, actually. There was a music teacher at that private school I was talking about. And he was only there for 1 year, but he made such an impact on me. He was a jazz piano player. I wish I could find him. I don't even remember really what his name was.
John David.
No. But he's cool too. He's not there. So we'd have free time in the class, and I always gravitated to the guitar. Everyone did, really.
Yeah.
But then he was giving piano lessons after school, and my mom signed me up, and so I was taking piano lessons from him. But man, I couldn't sit still. It was such a stationary thing, and
They say piano's not good for ADHD kids.
I
They need
believe
guitars.
that.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Because the guitar moves with me. You know, it
Feels like a trap.
yeah, it's just very stiff. And so he didn't play guitar, but he played enough that he, could show me a couple things. But that was the beginning of my relationship with the guitar. And I've been playing ever since. And in all these programs, I had a guitar my mom would bring when she would visit. And I'd have my, whatever, 30 minutes to play something and then, take it away. And that was a bummer. But
You said that was once a week that you'd be able to get to play the guitar?
I believe so. I don't
Something
like
on the special occasion visits.
Yeah,
once
like
a
they
week,
would
once every
bring
few
it.
days.
And I think that the visits were like an hour, but like I'm not going to sit there the whole time and play.
Yeah.
But I do remember like getting my dexterity up and then having to go away and then like really feeling like, almost like when you're trying to talk while you're drunk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like with your fingers. And it's just always been a part of my life. It's probably the one constant. And I started singing like 11-ish, 11, 12 or something like that, really because I wanted to write songs. I have an uncle who writes songs and sings and plays, and I wanted to do that. And then when I found songwriting, it was cool to like put out my feelings in a cool way. And so I wrote a lot about being angry and a lot about being angry with my mom and you know, whatever was real to me at that time, you know. I wrote about, you know, feeling, you know, imprisoned, you know, because of being in places I couldn't leave, which is still like a thing that I really struggle with, like feeling. It's probably why I have like commitment issues, because I don't like feeling trapped. So I'm like really learning how to like talk to myself and let myself know like, hey, you're not the little kid. You're safe. You're okay. You know, and that's just something that I have to do until I don't. I will say, just my drug use was a problem then. And I think that those programs, however shitty the experience was, again, I think they saved my life because it just paused the use.
Kind of like slowed your descent.
Yeah. And I knew people that died while I was away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I was right next to them. You know what I mean? Like, I could have easily gone down that road. And, you know, when I got out, you know, I had like a sense of moderation or whatever. So, you know, I kind of learned how to use successfully until I needed to cope with stuff.
Yeah.
Which I learned from watching my mom at times and other people, how people cope, which they get fucked up, they drink, they whatever.
I mean, I've always thought of that more as like, you know, like you're white knuckling it until you have a reason that's justification enough for you to where you're like, okay, now I can.
Now let's get fucking nuts. And it wasn't until 2017, 2016, 17, where I started doing blow in like writing sessions and staying up all night to write. Some people would take Adderall and
like the Beatles did it, right?
Everyone did it.
Are you playing out at this point? Are you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you're performing out, playing cover songs at bars.
I don't know if I was doing like the better paying corporate gigs yet. But yeah, a lot of bars, a lot of restaurants.
So I do want to talk about what it feels like to be an artist, right?
Yeah.
You're an artist, you're super creative, you write your own stuff, but to make a living, you're playing at bars, playing cover songs.
Sure.
And kind of background, right?
Yeah.
For a lot of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that gets people up and going and they're engaging, but for a lot of times you're the background stuff, you're playing, you might think like, oh, this is going really good. And then you're done and everybody's like in their conversation or ordering a drink.
There's no clapping.
Bar.
Yeah.
No clapping. Yeah. You just kind of poured your heart out a little bit, gave a little piece of yourself, and then you see that. What is that feeling?
I think that's ultimately what like revved up my using at that time, because I was playing all the time, and this is just the kind of person I am. I give 100% of myself all the time. I want to, whatever I'm doing, be the best at it, or rather be the best version of myself at it. Right. So, you know, I expect 100% of myself, even when I only have 70 to give. That's something I work through as well. But yeah, I went out to LA. I was working with some people. We were writing a lot. They kind of like sold this promise of helping me like develop as a writer and as an artist and whatever. It didn't quite work that way. I saved up some money and I went out there and I essentially spent it all. Yeah. I came back broke, living at my mom's, and luckily I was able to get some like steady gigs, and I'm playing and experiencing that, like you're playing and you're giving your heart. And I used to say, I'm a pitcher of water. I fill everybody's cups, but then you leave me empty. And I didn't have anything else in my life to fill me back up. I didn't know how to do that yet. And so I'm just running on fumes all the time. And now I'm doing blow to write, to stay up and write, you know, because I'm always tired. And at some point, it was just like out of spite. Like, oh, you're not going to pay attention. You're not going to care. Well, fuck you. Me neither. I'm going to
show you what I could do to me.
Yeah, I'll show you. Right, dude. I like that. I never heard that before. But yeah, I'll show you. I'll go to the bathroom every set break and, you know, do a couple bumps and take a couple shots. And then I'll come back and
This one's for the guy in the blue shirt. This one's for that lady over there.
So it started this resentment, I guess, and that's where it was. And eventually I was stuck in the cycle, and I wasn't sleeping for most of the week, and I was drinking to calm down, and before I knew, I was drinking way more than I thought. And
I feel like playing music, even if you're playing cover songs, right? It's a vulnerable act.
Yeah.
Right. Like you're doing something emotional. You connect to the emotions. You're doing it in public, right? And the response you get is not even acknowledgement, right? Like I think at some point it's like, hey, like boo or something, right? Like,
yeah. Hey, how's it going? How's everyone doing?
Nothing. Great. Yeah.
Nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
So like, I mean, that
fuck
has
you,
to take
dude.
an emotional toll. And like the word that comes up for me is trudge. Like you're just trudging.
Just trudging. You become very calloused.
Yeah.
Like I said, no balance, nothing to fill myself back up. And I've always been very focused and goal oriented. And, but I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the foundations, you know what I mean? Like I developed this whole area over here, but I didn't have the area to balance it out.
Yeah.
So I just like nosedived, pun.
Mm.
So then, you recover at some point, right?
Yeah.
You decide to live a life of recovery.
Mhm.
How does that impact your relationship with music or like?
So the last time I was in Austin, and really probably the only time that I was actually like in the streets of Austin, I came out here to play South by Southwest. And to me, that was like a goal achieved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wanted to play festivals. I wanted to play and perform for big crowds and whatever. And so I am heavily in using at this point. This was the beginning of 2019. I think it was like February 2019.
March.
Was it March?
Yeah.
So
South by is usually March.
So I got clean. So I went into treatment March 28th.
Okay.
So literally, went out to play South by Southwest. Maybe a week before coming out here, my car broke down, so I had no more car. I'm spending all of my money and starting to sell things. And
There you go.
right. Well, no, like starting to sell off things.
Not fuego.
Not flake.
Pedals.
Yeah, maybe pedals, or like I think I remember selling a PA that I had. And it was like, you sell it so I could pay the rent, but then like the leftover from it I definitely used. So it was madness. And so I came out here and I brought stuff with me. I like triple bagged like an 8-ball, and I put it in my shoe and walked by a dog for the first time I ever saw a dog at the Fort Lauderdale airport. Did not get caught for it, although me and that dog locked eyes. That dog knew.
The dog was like,
I'll
you
let you
seem
go."
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
You're going to South by, right?
Yeah, right. You smell like a cool guy. But anyway, so I brought it out with me, and I had been up for 2 days before we even left, and came out here and lived this cool experience with the artist
You got the
tag,
badge.
and got to go and do things, and I felt good, and blah blah blah, and so I yesterday went to that hotel that we played at. So it was like, I couldn't tell you exactly where it is. I'd have to look it up. But I took one of the Lime bikes or whatever, and I just rode over there. It's no longer the Sheridan. It's called something else now. I took pictures I remember running out because, of course, I ran out.
Yeah.
And where are you going to find more cocaine?
Starting South by Southwest and all.
Well, I found it almost immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
What? We're very resourceful.
We're going to need another hour.
But I remember this dude pulling up right in the valet. I popped in his car. He's got this like big like
tackle box,
like a crystal bowl with just full of blow, and
like just loose.
Yeah,
like
just like to try.
Yeah,
literally like, here, try. This is what you're buying, and so we're sitting in valet.
I wonder if anyone was ever like, no.
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. It was good.
To
It
sell
wasn't
market.
South Beach good, but it was good. You know, I bought whatever I bought, and I did a couple of there, and then I went back into the hotel, and I found a bathroom. I found the bathroom, and I did more, and I literally had to go on stage right then. Like the guy that I was with, that I brought out with me, was like, "Yo, they're looking for you," and then I, like, you know, walked out and ran up and played my set, and I probably was
Double time.
right. I was gonna say it's probably a little fast.
Yeah.
And you know, it was like a 30-minute set. You know, something short, and
Played 72 songs.
right. You got to fit them in. But then, you know, we had just like a debaucherous night, and it was cool, and it was that's what I liked at the time. Somehow we went to a couple different bars, and then somehow found this like rave thing in a big ass warehouse.
Fucking.
We were there till the sun came up, and then I had to come home, and I didn't have any more left, and I was coming down.
Yikes.
There was a bunch of delays, and so I'm coming down hard, dude. And still, I think I've been up for 3 or 4 days at this point, and you know, ironically, out of all the blow that I did, I wasn't drinking coffee at the time, and I remember flying home and like crying watching Elf, and like
March. Who watches Elf in fucking March?
I watch Elf. That's my go-to whenever I get on a plane.
Yeah.
If you see me on a plane, chances are I'm watching Elf.
Okay.
Truly.
God, that's
Yeah.
Good
I
one.
love that.
I love it. I love
That's
that
my
movie.
favorite bullet point so far.
It's so good.
Only watches Elf on airplane.
Only on repeat.
Yes.
Actually, that's true. But I got home, and I just like hit me. Like, first of all, I got home. I had no way of getting home from the airport. I didn't have money for an Uber. I didn't have a car. And I just remember thinking like, man, like, I don't want to come home and do the same thing. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I don't have the energy to come home and do the same fucking thing. And I called my mom, and I'm just like crying, just like, I can't do this anymore. You know, mom doesn't know what to do for me.
No.
But that's when I started looking into Recovery Unplugged, and Music Cares was how I was able to go to Recovery Unplugged, and Carl helped a lot.
Oh,
Man.
Carl Schmidt.
Carl picked me up from Miami and brought me in. But there was that 2-week period of the communicating back and forth with Music Cares.
Yeah, because you got to verify all your shit. Yeah.
Which surprisingly was a challenging thing to do. I 100% was a full-time musician, but
On the
The accounting and
filling
the
out
books
your
on
taxes.
hard to
You
Yeah.
don't really have
so I was in like senioritis.
W-9s,
Right.
W-2s, whatever.
Yeah. I forgot your question.
The question was, how did getting into recovery change your relationship with music? That was like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And that was great.
Drugs and sleep deprivation were a big part of how I played and how I wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got clean initially, that was hard to navigate. I felt very unmotivated and uninspired a lot. When I got out of treatment, I didn't jump back into playing gigs. It was suggested that I didn't, so I listened because I wanted that to stick. This was actually my first time in recovery.
Yeah.
It's my first treatment center. I picked up one white key tag.
One and done.
Awesome.
So
Miracle over here. It's not wood.
Oh. It's composite. It's
Lacquer.
composite or something.
There we
Anyway, there it is. And it's taken time, and I'm still like working through it. But what I will say is it's given my music a different purpose, because I do get to play for the clients at Recovery Unplugged. I get to participate in other nonprofit things.
Face the music. You've done this.
Face the music.
What do you do with your music nowadays? Anything going on?
That was good. A lot is going on. I am on this season of The Voice.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah,
Like who are the hosts on The Voice? Who are the judges?
Adam Levine, Michael Bublé, Kelsey Ballerini, and John Legend.
Shit. Wow.
My name was in their mouth.
So you're automatically like you have a slight advantage with Adam Levine automatically, right?
We have the same name.
Because you're Adam.
And he plays guitar. And yeah.
He also has hair.
Last time I was in Fort
has eyes.
Lauderdale, I tricked Adam into doing an H&I commitment, or speaking at the alumni meeting, and then somebody's like, Adam from The Voice is speaking tonight. And then somebody called me like an hour. They're like, Adam Levine is speaking at the alumni meeting tonight.
So disappointing.
This
all right.
Well,
I'll go anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was Adam David and not Adam Levine, and it was fuego.
That's very generous.
He brought the
I'm
message.
better on like this than I am at just like speaking at people.
Yeah. But that's wild because, like, you know, at the beginning of your story, right? Like, you can't connect to people and you don't know how to talk to people and you have all this anxiety around people. And now it's like, oh, you're doing this show that's going to be in front of millions of people and you had to speak to these super famous, you know, musicians, right? And go and like audition with, I'm assuming, thousands of people, right? And I have a good friend who casts reality shows.
Yeah.
Mostly dating shows like Love Island and shit like that. But he always says that the number one thing they look for is people's ability to connect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that's my strength.
I think the evidence
Maybe
is there.
I think it's one of those things that you sort of gain, or even if like maybe you had it initially. I'm sure you did, but when you go through a recovery process, you get this sort of extra ability to connect to people that I find most people don't. You know, some people do, but if you find the average speaker at a 12-step meeting, right? The guy who will speak at a noon meeting.
Yeah.
Probably a better speaker than most times, like, than a lot of people that get paid for it. Just because they've learned how to work these rooms, which are some of the toughest rooms to connect with people.
Yeah.
Afterwards, you're meeting people who are coming up to you talking about your message and you're having these genuine connections. And this is happening all the time. Yeah. You're going up to people at meetings that you hear speak and you're talking to them and connecting to them. Like, it's happening every day.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, like, before you know it, like, even if it's your first meeting and you go up to somebody and you're like, hey, man, that meant I heard what you said and it felt like you were talking directly to me.
Yeah.
You're opening up to people, you're making these connections. You know, you get 5-6 months going to meetings all the time and connecting people. Like, it's happening every day and you're not seeing it just because it's sort of, you're in it, but you're like, you're making all these amazing connections.
Yeah. I think that your ability to empathize also, I think the things that we have gone through and come from, I think that we can automatically connect with people on a deeper level because pain is universal. And we're slightly more comfortable at embracing it and facing it. And I think that also translates in my music and just music in general.
Right. And I have seen Adam grow from when he was a client. I got to come out to
You suck.
No, when he was a client,
nuts.
I just started doing camera work for Recovery Unplugged. So they asked me to come out. They made sure everybody was cool with it, all the clients and their families. We had a family. They had a family session in Fort Lauderdale. I still have the footage of that.
You'll put it up.
I will. And Adam is like wearing a beanie, wearing the dark sunglasses, and is just sitting there, sort of like his mom's talking, and he's like this in the chair, like just does not want to connect.
Please
like,
tell me Cliff was facilitating.
Cliff was facilitating.
Yes.
I love Cliff.
Cliff is amazing.
man.
I
Really
still
is.
talk
Good
to
man.
Cliff often, and
But that wasn't about not wanting to connect. That was
not.
Feelings.
You were feeling, and you were not. You were not
feel that shit.
having it. You did not want to be part of it. You were.
Yeah.
What was the word that you used? Drudging.
Trudging.
Trudging. Ninth grade education.
If you look on page 164 of the big book, one of the last lines is
I work NA, so.
Ah.
I'm the minority in the room right now, though. Aren't I?
You actually are,
Yeah.
which is odd in Austin.
Yeah.
But no.
You know what NA stands for?
No.
Well, you know what the difference between being clean and sober is? You can be sober and still smoke crack. By definition. Anyway,
It says all my.
I love this. Let's keep that going.
Yeah, no. Let's not, because it's taken me a long time to.
That's
Anyway,
so
I love
funny.
all fellowships. AA saves lives.
You know, the
Whatever
term
works.
clean is considered to be stigmatizing.
I know.
Mm.
I was fucking dirty, so I'm clean now. So anyway, seeing Adam,
Anymore?
seeing Adam come through.
No, I'm conducting the interview now.
Okay, I'm the captain now. So seeing Adam come through as a client, and then a couple months later, see him start to come and perform Feel Good Fridays. My fiance Gabby did some early Recovery Unplugged marketing with Adam, doing an interview with him, and told me, like, this guy's fucking talented. You should meet
Shut
him.
up. You are?
And then
Gabby doesn't say nice shit about a lot of people.
she does not.
If she said you're talented, that's like,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
who cares what Adam Levine thinks?
Right. So anyway, so to
You're like,
see,
I do.
agree.
to see Adam
No.
come from that, and then, when
It's all
I
meaningful.
after I moved out here, I'd visit Florida every now and then and pop in when I would and see him performing at Feel Good Friday and just be like, oh, fuck, this motherfucker's on stage. And then always nice to see him.
Yeah.
And now we're starting to work together a lot. So through this process of where he's at in his career and the things that I've done with Recovery Unplugged and the Elsewhere program, and I've sort of put some things together for Adam to do, introducing him around to some of the connections through the music industry.
Jason, your manager now? Is that what he's trying to?
That's an interesting word you just used.
That is an interesting.
We were trying to figure out. Jason called himself my pre-manager, which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
Was that the word? That's the word, right?
Yeah, I mean, because it's like I'm not a music manager. I don't but I've been,
facilitating.
and we've been talking on a daily basis now, and I've been helping him put some things together and put some meetings in place for him, and sort of made this thing happen.
I feel like that entitles you to like 10% of what he makes for the rest of his life. That's what
We've already discussed a bag full of cash.
indentured servitude.
That was a verbal agreement.
Yeah. So I've been promised a bag of cash at some point.
In every behind the music, there's always like the original manager that got them the break. Who got dumped right when the money got started coming in.
Well, I know I'll at least be getting a bag of cash. Not sure the size of the bag.
I'm thinking at least a public size, but you want a nice bag. So
I would like a nice bag.
Yeah.
But see, nice bags are more expensive, and so they'll probably go smaller.
You don't want
a
a
cheap
briefcase?
bag. You want an IKEA bag.
Fred Perry's one of my favorite brands, and you could probably if you need me to I'll provide the bag for you.
No.
But
I
anyway.
want to provide the bag. It's the whole thing.
All right.
One day that will happen. And hopefully this podcast is still happening. And maybe I'll present it to you right here.
Oh, that would be great.
Let's say on episode 200.
Yes.
Sooner than we think.
We started this in 2020, so it's taken us about 5 years to get to 100.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Now there's 52 weeks in a year. You should really be if you're doing a week.
Well, we've had some bumps. We've had some
2030.
once a week, once a month.
2030.
I'm looking at my watch.
So anyway,
2030.
I've been
There's
helping
no year
Adam.
on my watch.
I've been helping Adam, and we've been
Well, let's see,
talking on
it's
a daily
Wednesday.
basis now, doing my pre-manager duties. I'm just going to continue talking through.
I like that.
Giggling.
Music sponsor?
What's that?
Career sponsor.
I've just been there. Let's just say I've been there and trying to. So the reason he's in town now is I had this little idea of, he was sitting in Feel Good Friday. Well, Richie Supa sings amazing, right? So that's a song that's been a throughway through his recovery.
Oh, I thought you were saying his singing was amazing.
No, the song amazing.
But
The Aerosmith song.
He's amazing when he sings.
So I'm going to try to finish this story no matter what.
We're like
you
a
guys
half hour
throw at
over
me.
fucking time at this point.
No, my God.
All right, so everybody,
funny.
follow, subscribe.
No,
Thank you for
keep
tuning
going,
in.
keep
So I
going.
bring him out.
1,000 ways in, 1,000 ways out.
Just making it go longer.
Remember that time you gave me a Red Bull right before we had to film a thing?
And I'm usually the ADHD one. You need a hit of your vape. Take a hit of your vape, please. There we go.
It's just to keep your mouth occupied.
So I bring him. Just hold it in. So I bring He's happening in Austin now. We're meeting with the guys from Nolo, friends of the show, and Nathaniel Earl, also friend of the show,
Yes.
to record at Orb Studios, friend of the show. And we're going to be doing a little music video, song production of the song Amazing, full circle, going back to the whole Recovery Unplugged connection with Richie Supa.
Yeah, and
That's exciting.
it's
Thank
cool.
you. Asshole.
It was such a build-up. But that was the best explanation.
No, but what's cool, I mean, for me, like, what's cool is like how, like, what, like a summation that is, right? Like, Richie was like the first, like the original music dude at RU, right? The Nolo guys all got sober at RU. You know, the amazing video on YouTube with Steven Tyler is still like this huge thing that hits all the time, right?
Yeah.
You got sober at RU, right? Nathaniel got sober at RU, right? Like all these guys that got sober at RU playing
I got
this
clean
song.
at RU.
Yeah,
There you
like,
go.
and creating this song together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's fucking rad.
It's gonna be cool.
It's definitely it's
And, like,
definitely super
And
cool.
the guy that's paying for your hotel room, like his little spark of an idea.
I'm playing around with. I want to get him a gift, a fruit basket, or
Get him a fruit basket, and then just do an amazing job recording the song.
right.
Yeah.
I did want to say, again, to go back, something you asked me about how my music has been affected.
Yeah.
There's a song that I wrote called Savior, which I play at the clients ask for it all the time, which is amazing.
Like people like
maybe a pun. Maybe, I don't know.
Like that someone remembers your song.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the song I want to hear right now.
So when I finally decided to go to treatment and I was looking into the Music Cares thing on, I think, Carl's suggestion, it was like 5 a.m. You know, I was doing what I had to do with very one-track mind. And I sent off the initial email and sat down and I wrote the first half of this song. And it's pretty simple and concise. But, you know, every so often I'll write a song that feels like it's my higher power or my higher self, you know, talking through me and things that I need to hear.
Yeah,
So
you're not writing it. It's coming from
I'm not writing it.
You're
Something
conduit.
else. Yeah. And this was one of those songs for me. And I couldn't finish. I wrote literally the half of it. And from that moment till the end of my stay at Recovery Unplugged, and I did everything from detox to IOP.
PHP, IOP.
Yeah. And so when I was leaving PHP, I was finally able to finish it. I had tried the whole time I was in there to find the words and finish it. And it wasn't even like, I just had to write one more verse essentially.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even like that many words, but it was the concepts. And I had to get through, I still feel like I just had to get through to find the words because they were waiting for me on the other side.
Yeah.
And I finished it literally in what was a hallway at RU in Fort Lauderdale. I was supposed to be working on one of the open mic assignments, but my mom was picking me up that day, so fuck it.
You're done.
And the words
short
came.
timers.
The words came, so I was like, all right. And so I finished it there, and now I play it, and I've been recording it now, and we're going to be releasing it sometime in March.
Love it.
So, you know, with everything from the stuff with the voice, which again, that could be a whole other episode of like really delving into all of the things that brought up, that shed light on and give me the opportunity to work on.
Yeah.
And then the stuff that we're doing, why I'm here, you know, and then recording these songs and that song in particular, I wouldn't be doing any of it.
Yeah.
Truthfully, recovery's given me hope. It's given me purpose, and it's given me like a relationship to my higher power, which I couldn't do anything without, because I'm too much of a perfectionist, and I'm too much of I want to control everything. I want the outcome to be how I see it. But when I introduce this concept of my higher power, I can just focus on, we were just talking about this with one of the guys from the meeting we were at. I can just focus on being present and enjoying the journey and trust that it will always be good. Yeah. You know, it'll always be something worthwhile. And that, I don't think that exists without like a higher power. And I don't think that I'd really have a connection without, you know, being clean and focusing on like, you know, being the best version of myself, which ultimately is the clean version.
Yeah.
You know?
Sounds a lot like peace.
Sometimes I get glimpses of peace. I'm still walking around with a bad neighborhood, but I've gained a lot of tools, and you know, meditating, journaling, and affirmations, and obviously none of that really works unless I'm clean.
Yeah.
So meetings and working steps and doing service in the program or in and out, because I like doing the nonprofit stuff.
Adam from The Voice.
Yeah, or
doing nonprofit stuff.
Right. That sounds good. The stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of learning how to use those tools. And then just, yeah, like I think with the higher power, it lets me not have to show up perfect.
Yeah.
I can show up however I need to and do whatever I'm capable of doing. Like even on the way here, I was starting to overthink. I recognize when I start to overthink, and I'll ask the person around.
I could give a couple of examples.
Feel free, because I'm a little embarrassed.
Well, I will say, so you know, in this time where Adam and I have been talking every day now for the past like couple of months and putting this stuff together, and sometimes maybe I feel a little bit like a sponsor. Sometimes I feel maybe a little bit like a manager.
I've leaned on you.
And I love it. And I love when you get to that point when you're like, I know that this is going to sound crazy. I'll put it in a nutshell. So, Jason, I know this is going to sound crazy. So we were in Fort Lauderdale, and I'm like, hey, come meet me at this meeting, and then we'll hang out, and then we'll go have coffee afterwards. So as soon as the speaker's done, I see Adam just going like, I got to go. And fucking like runs away. And I was like, okay, whatever. I guess we'll meet up another time. So I call him afterwards, and he's like, I know this is going to sound crazy, Jason, but I was at my friend's house the other day, and his dog bit me. And like, I know I don't have rabies, but like, do I have rabies? And I'm like, well, why don't you just find out if the dog has, if the dog has all of his shots? And he's like, the dog does have all of his shots. The guy told me. I was like, okay, well then I guess the next logical step is if you need to, go see a doctor. Jason, I saw a doctor. And I'm like, well, what did the doctor tell you? That I don't have rabies. And I'm like, well, what if the doctor's wrong? And then he still the next day had to call the guy and be like, I know this is going to sound crazy, but can you show me the dog's paperwork?
Bro,
and
for
like
weeks.
And
I was riddled with
and
that.
I understand this. And then, but he told me that he realizes like he has all these great things going on in his life. So he needs this one fucking disastrous thing that's going to ultimately bring it to the
waiting for the other shoe to drop.
But like, what if you flip that shit, right? What if it's like, I know this sounds crazy, but like, what if I win The Voice?
Right.
I know this sounds crazy, but what if I win a Grammy, right?
Yeah.
I know this sounds crazy, but like, what if I end up doing a collaboration album with fucking Paul
Teddy
McCartney?
Swims. Oh,
right?
Paul
Who?
McCartney. Cool too. Either way.
Who? You say Teddy Swims?
Yeah, I did. Interesting.
Teddy Swims is great.
Yeah, Paul McCartney is
Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney, absolutely.
I mean, what's crazier?
Paul McCartney would be crazier. Teddy Swims is more relevant right now.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they were both nominated for
either
Grammys
way.
this weekend.
Were they really?
Yeah, the Beatles were nominated for a Grammy for some reason.
For what
I don't know
song?
why.
Undeserved. No, I'm just
I don't know.
I'm just kidding.
Boycott.
Are you a Stones guy?
No, I love
Okay, okay.
Beatles are lifelong.
Yeah.
All right, I got it. It's time.
Is it?
Yeah. It's rapid fire question time.
It's rapid fire question time.
Oh, 5 questions, super fast. What's your favorite Richie Supa song?
Amazing.
Ben and Jerry's comes at you. Adam, we're giving you an ice cream. What's in it and what's it called?
Cookie dough and cheesecake in chocolate ice cream with a little bit of fudge
Fudge squirrel?
swirl.
What's it called?
A damn good ice cream. Spelled Adam.
Oh!
That's really good.
That was
That little
good.
twist at the end
Wow.
really fucking threw me.
All right.
All right. What's the number one reason you love Texas?
Because Jason lives there. I'm good at rapid fire. This is good.
Give me your,
I spoke
I'm
too
sure
soon.
you have one. Supernatural experience.
Supernatural. When I was little, I remember astral projecting and falling back into my body. I would fly around my house and shit. It could have been a dream, but it wasn't.
That's a common thing that happens to emotionally handicapped children.
Is it really?
Did that happen to you?
it's a fucking-
Last one. I really want to do 2 more. No, we already did a food.
Do two.
Okay. Okay.
We've gone over
tacos
already.
or pizza for the rest of your life? Quick.
I know what he's going to say.
Pizza.
I
And
tried
honestly,
to get him to eat
neither.
tacos the other day. I'm like, you're in Texas. He's like, I don't really like tacos. I was like,
What I said-
Get the fuck.
What I said
That's
was
a hot take. What I had said was.
what I had said was I inadvertently said something racist. Which it just sounded racist, but I didn't mean it. What I said was I don't like Mexican.
Oh,
And I was doing an IG live for the voice.
And he's with Gabby and I.
Oh.
Gabby and I
what
are
did you
both
just
there. And you're like, you have
say?
2 Mexicans sitting right here.
but it's just the food. I like Mexicans.
You prefer Cuban or what?
Next question.
Okay. All right, last one. You're having a rough day, right? Like, what's your go-to song or artist to like change your mood, get you back on track?
That's hard. That's a hard one because there's so many. I listen to a lot of Marcus King. Alan Stone is another one, though. Gary Clark Jr. is another one.
Guess where he's from?
I know.
Texas.
Right. That's tough. Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles.
Not from Texas.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
Leon Bridges?
Leon Bridges is
From
great.
Texas, yeah.
I feel right for that. So that didn't really answer your question.
Steven Van Sant.
I don't know who that is, but I bet he's from Texas.
Yeah.
Is that the right?
I don't know.
Van Sant.
Stevie Ray Vaughan?
Stevie Ray Vaughan. We're going to cut that part out.
That's great.
I'm from Florida and Chicago.
Adam,
BB King's great.
thank you so much for being here and for going way over the time that we
It's
normally
my
do for this.
pleasure.
This is, I think, officially the longest episode. we've
It
ever
has
done.
been the longest episode. We both have to. I have to shout out A, Recovery Unplugged, title sponsor.
Woo!
B, Music Cares, 2 Music Cares Recovery Unplugged babies right
Yeah.
here, and Face the Music.
Yeah.
And Carl Schmidt.
Carl Schmidt.
I'd like to thank
Shout out Carlos Truon for having a
Ben and Jerry's.
Today.
This is so.
Gabby for telling me about this town.
Shout out Nolo Boys.
Who we're gonna-
for-
Yeah.
We're gonna meet
Yeah.
with later tonight
Nate.
in
Yeah.
practice, and Nate,
yeah,
Daniel Earl.
yeah. Gotta shout out Ashley Armstrong for running away from the Scientologist rehab and then coming back to get Brett and eventually
Nice.
bringing him to.
Shout out to Joseph, who's officially invited to next week's meeting.
Woo! I'm on vacation.
Uh,
All right. But the last thing we
shout out to Alcoholics Anonymous for always being there and formulating the meeting. The
Shout out
steps.
to AA for turning away Jimmy K and who created NA.
shout out to the phone technician who put the phone in the hotel lobby where Bill first calls Dr. Bob,
Oh, wow.
essentially creating.
Yeah.
Shout out to Record ATX for giving us this space.
I
And
have to pee so bad.
yeah, me too. That's good.
So thank you for your time. Thank you for your time.
It's my pleasure, truly. I hope I can come back. This was
Yeah.
really fun.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how the rest of the season of The Voice plays out.
Yeah, we'll see how you do.
If not, then we'll get whoever wins.
Yeah, I'll tell you all the spoilers
Yeah.
right now. And then
Dun-dun-dun.
right.
All right,
We're out of
finish
time.
that.
But the last thing we like to do is just give you the floor for just a
Oh
second
yeah,
to
we're
like
still here.
to like
Still
share whatever, leave a message to the fans, to the viewers, a little nugget of wisdom. Plug your stuff. Where can they find you?
Sure. So I'm on Instagram at Adam David Official. I do have a main website, which is adamdavidofficial.com. I think my Facebook page is Adam David Official.
I'm sensing a theme.
Yeah, I actually worked really hard to get the names. It's a marketing thing. I'm gonna be releasing quite a bit of music this year.
Savior.
Savior's gonna be the first one. And that is a full production. It's with my band. And we're gonna come out with this other recording, Amazing, which should be amazing. Make sure you're tuning into The Voice. It kills me to not be able to tell you guys how it goes. But follow the journey, man. A little more than 6 years ago, I was suffering, and through some challenging steps, I've made it to where I'm at now. And if I'm able to do it, I think anybody is. And I will say that vulnerability is a superpower. So share, even if you don't know what you're talking about. And this could be someone in the rooms. This could be somebody not in the rooms. I used to share stuff. Anyone who knows me from early recovery will attest that I sounded like a crazy person. And I still sometimes
People
do.
are like, bro, don't tell people.
Right. But I strongly believe that vulnerability has saved my life countless times. It also helps those around you, because if anyone's not able to share or feels uncomfortable, whatever, and they hear you do it, you give them the power.
Yeah.
And I will also say the stigma of being an addict, being an addict is also a superpower.
Fuck yeah.
Imagine Superman. Imagine being Superman and developing these
Snorting
powers.
kryptonite.
Well, I'm going a different way. Imagine you're Superman, okay? And you realize that you can fly, or rather, you realize you can shoot lasers from your eye, right? So you can cause a lot of destruction, right? Shooting lasers from your eye. Now imagine learning to control it. As addicts, we have these tendencies that can cause a lot of destruction to ourselves and those people around us. But when we learn to wield it, we could do any fucking thing we want. Hyper-focused. We learn when we learn how to show up, we show up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who's more consistent than an addict? Just learn where to be consistent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I could probably go on. That's why this is the longest episode. So I'm going to stop myself. But hopefully I'll come back. Hopefully there'll be a part two. This was really fun.
Like I said, hopefully don't fuck it up.
Or get rabies.
One last time, thank you again, Adam.
Yeah,
it's been a joy and a pleasure. To all our loyal viewers at home, listeners, subscribers, thank you for your time. And don't forget to tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dog to like, follow, share, subscribe. And as we like to say here on Talksicology, there's 1,000 ways in and 1,000 ways out. And we hope you find yours.